Can you just maybe speak to why is how you compensate your sales people and your sales teams? Why is that so important? What comes to mind there?
Yeah, I think for a business owner's perspective, protecting the profit dollar while still scaling and keeping a salesperson motivated is why it's so important. To your point, you're correct. Like there is different iterations of how we've done sales. You can look at it as percentage on revenue. You could look at that and manage to that. One of the reasons why we have evolved to this cost on margin model is that the model has allowed us to hold sales accountable for our true marketing expense and overhead expense in the business. And so that's been a huge win, and that directly relates to the profit dollars that are being protected. So if your marketing costs more, sales needs to feel that, not just the business owner. If your overhead costs a certain amount, you need to make sure it is burdened over the salespeople appropriately. That is often a component that gets missed in compensating salespeople. That usually just gets eaten up by the business owner in a culture of, hey, those are my expenses to manage. And that's okay. Like there's nothing inherently wrong with that. But many business owners have a hard time keeping a pulse on all that data. And they lose probably 4 to 5 profit points in the sales and marketing world every year just because it gets so unwieldy and it's not fully incentivized for a win-win-win. So over the years, this model that we designed has helped us to kind of recover those points, but also create a way for salespeople to be very motivated to kind of beat the budget in their sales role.
Yeah. And I think that motivation piece is something that like why I wanted to make an episode on this. I think people, it comes kind of natural or it's common sense of the scenario of I overpay a salesperson. So a business owner doesn't want to have a situation where they feel like they're overpaying a salesperson, or they maybe are trying to hire what they perceive as talented people and they just don't feel like their offer is compelling enough. But I think it's like more nuanced than that. If you have a lot of those, if you have a lot of those experiences where you overpay or you're not hiring talented people, I think just the owner can lose motivation to grow. Like part of the sustainability of growth is just that the owner feels confident, is decisive and moving forward. And if you're not clear on how you're compensating your salespeople, which are leading that growth, I think that can cause hesitation, that can cause self-doubt. I think the clearer this is, the more confident you can be in your growth.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I think the way we'll get into this too in detail, but the way we do compensation for sales in our world, the salesperson grows in compensation and it's a bigger win for the business owner and for the salesperson as they become more skilled in what they're doing. And so there are specific things that owners are going to do to help make even stronger salespeople that are making even more money. That is going to be very appreciated by the sales team, but the owner gets a huge growth and sustainable profit on their side as well. And I think those aligned incentives are probably the biggest tricky thing that people are always trying to find. And so hopefully when we're done, people have a better perspective of how you could do this, because it's hard to go back after you go this route, and it's motivating to both parties, and that's very hard to achieve in roles as you try to scale.